Hey, everyone! Welcome back to English in Sync podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Ashley. We're so excited you're here today because we've got a powerful topic lined up: the value of forgiveness in relationships.
That's right. And before we dive into our discussion, let's start with a little scenario to set the tone. Ready, Ashley?
Always. Here it goes. John, I can't believe you forgot our meeting today. You promised to remind me.
I know, Ash. I'm really sorry. I got caught up at work and completely lost track of time.
You always do this. How can I trust you if you keep letting me down?
You're right to feel upset. I'm not making excuses, but I'll do better. Can you forgive me?
I don't know, John. It's hard to move past it.
So, what do you think, listeners? How would you handle this situation?
Stick around, because we'll unpack this and share insights about forgiveness in relationships. Let's jump in. Forgiveness is a tricky concept. It's often easier said than done, right?
Definitely. But before we dive deep, Ash, let's clarify. What is forgiveness?
Great point. Forgiveness is letting go of anger, resentment, and the need for revenge after someone hurts you. It's not necessarily about forgetting or excusing the harm.
Right.
Exactly. Now, John, in that scenario earlier, do you think I should have forgiven you?
I hope so. But seriously, forgiveness depends on a few factors. First, there's accountability. If the person apologizes sincerely, like I did in the scenario, it's easier to forgive.
True. An apology shows the person values the relationship and regrets their mistake. But what about repeated offenses? Isn't it harder to forgive then?
Oh, absolutely. That's where setting boundaries comes in. Forgiveness doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior.
Yes, forgiveness and trust are separate. You can forgive, but still take time to rebuild trust.
Speaking of trust, have you ever struggled with forgiving someone, Ash?
Oh, definitely. I remember a close friend forgot my birthday 2 years in a row. It hurt. But I realized holding on to the grudge wasn't worth losing our friendship.
That's a good example. Forgiveness often benefits you more than the other person. It lifts a weight off your shoulders.
And studies back that up. Forgiveness has been linked to lower stress levels, better mental health, and even improved physical health.
Let's talk about relationships specifically. Why do you think forgiveness is so crucial in maintaining healthy relationships?
Well, no one's perfect. Misunderstandings, mistakes, and conflicts are inevitable. Forgiveness helps relationships grow stronger by fostering empathy and compassion.
And it builds emotional safety. When you know your partner or friend will forgive you, you feel safe being vulnerable.
Exactly. But forgiveness isn't just about the big stuff, is it? It's also about the daily, small annoyances like leaving the dishes in the sink or forgetting to text back.
Guilty as charged. But yes, those small acts of forgiveness add up and create a more harmonious relationship.
Let's share some practical tips for our listeners. How can they practice forgiveness effectively?
Sure, first, acknowledge your feelings. It's okay to feel hurt or angry, but you need to process those emotions.
That's so important. Bottling up emotions only makes things worse. What's next?
Communicate. If someone's hurt you, talk to them calmly. Share how you feel and why their actions affected you.
And remember, forgiveness doesn't mean you're condoning their behavior. It means you're choosing to move forward.
Also, practice empathy. Try to see the situation from their perspective. It doesn't justify their actions, but it helps you understand their intentions.
Great point. And lastly, give it time. Forgiveness is a process, not an instant decision.
Okay, Ash, it's time for our quiz question.
Yes. Listeners, here's your question. What's the difference between forgiveness and trust in relationships?
Take a moment to think about it. The answer? Forgiveness is about letting go of resentment, while trust is about rebuilding confidence in someone's actions over time.
Well said, John. Forgiveness is the first step, but trust takes effort to restore.
This was such an enlightening discussion. Forgiveness is tough, but it's one of the greatest gifts you can give both to others and yourself.
Absolutely. And we hope today's episode inspired you to think about forgiveness in your own relationships.
If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who could use a little encouragement.
And as always, we'd love to hear your thoughts. How has forgiveness played a role in your relationships? Let us know in the comments or send us a message.
Thanks for tuning in to English in Sync podcast. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everyone.